Hi everyone, welcome back to my lab. If you're new, my name is Yori and I'm really happy to have you here. Today I'm just doing a quick get ready with me on this look right here. I'd like to think that it was plain inspiration, but for some reason I think it comes from my outfit. Anyway, if you're interested in seeing how I came up with this look alongside with a little bit of chatter, then just keep on watching. Alright, for my primer I'm going to use the Yves Saint Laurent Touche Clot Blurring Primer. Is that what this thing is called? Anyway, I recently hauled this in one of my Sephora VIB videos, and so I wanted to try that. I'm kind of centering this where I tend to have more fine lines. It does say that one pump is enough for the entire face, so alright, it feels really good on the skin. It does have that smoothing effect. I'm really tempted to put another pump, but I will do what the bottle says. For foundation, I'm going to use the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation, and I'm going to mix it with the Marc Jacobs Dewdrop. So I'm just adding one pump of that. One pump of this goes a long way, actually. Sorry about that. I had forgotten to dampen my beauty blender, and I also forgot to color correct. I actually was not even planning to film this kind of video today. I was planning to film my third and final VIB sale haul, but if you follow me on Instagram, you saw that one of the palettes that I ordered, which was the Natasha Denona, one of the 5-pan palettes, I think it was number 5, it actually arrived super shattered. Super shattered. And I contacted Sephora right away, and I've seen like actually several YouTube videos where people's products arrive damaged, and Sephora will just ship them out a brand new product. But with me, for some reason, they did ship me out a brand new product, but they told me that I had to be present when the delivery came in. And that's kind of hard because I do have a full-time job and I'm not home a lot of the time, so that's kind of a bummer. For concealer, I'm going to use the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer, and I'm using the shade 25 Medium. Trying to go really light on the concealer since I did color correct. Hopefully I get through this entire video because I did have to put in a maintenance request for my building. It's been raining nonstop here in Chicago, and my apartment started leaking like over by the window, and obviously that's not good. So I'm waiting for my super to come in and take a look at that. My eyes are really deep set, and I find that I cannot really reach the inner corner of my eyes with just the beauty blender. And so I usually go in with some concealer, a concealer brush. This one is the Simply Essential F6 flat concealer brush. I'm going to set my under eye with the Kat Von D Lock-It setting powder in the shade Trans. I actually wanted to try out a new eyeshadow palette today, so I'm thinking maybe I should have done my eyes first, but I did forget, so we're just gonna run with it. I'll leave a little extra powder underneath my eyes that I could sweep away in case I get any fallout. Just gonna go ahead and set the rest of my face using this powder. I don't usually use a translucent setting powder for this, but hopefully it's okay. For my contour, I'm gonna use the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette, and I'm just going to do a light contour and blend it out with bronzer. Alright, for bronzer I'm going to use this MAC bronzing powder in the shade Bronze. It's a little bit more of a glowy bronzer. I'm just going to warm up my face a little bit with that. Alright, I'm going to do my brows off camera, I'm going to be using the Anastasia Brow Powder Duo in the shade Dark Brown. This is Sephora Collection Brow Enhancer and Anastasia Brow Wiz. Alright, so I've got brows now. For my eyeshadow primer, I'm going to go in with the Too Faced Shadow Insurance. It's a tried and true primer, and since I'm going to be using new eyeshadows today, I wanted to use one of my favorite ones. I think the MAC Paint Pot is my favorite actually because it does cancel out any color that I have on my lids, but I want to see how pigmented the eyeshadows are, so I don't want to sort of give them any handicaps. So the eyeshadows that I'm going to be using are these from Zoeva. I actually placed an order from Zoeva Cosmetics online and also from Beauty Bay, and these are European companies, and I watch a lot of YouTube and I watch a lot of girls from Australia, Europe, New Zealand, and they always talk about Zoeva. They talk about Zoeva the way American girls talk about Morphe and Sigma, so I wanted to see what the hype was all about. I did hear that that Zoeva is going to be sold at Sephora. The palette that I got was the Cocoa Blend Palette, and here is what it looks like. There's no mirror, so I can actually show you the whole thing. It's a very warm neutral palette. I decided to purchase, in my first purchase, I purchased just the one palette. I'm going to use the shade Bittersweet from the palette, and it's the shade right here, to set the eyeshadow base. So I'm going to put this all over where I had the primer and all the way to my brow bone. Since I haven't ever used these shadows, that's why I wanted to maybe do my eyes first, but I just got started and I went in the way I normally do when I just do regular makeup, and so I started with my complexion. That's okay, I'll make it work. So far it doesn't look too powdery, and the pigment seems to be really good. I mean, this is like a bone colored shadow, so how much pigment is going to show up on my sort of medium skin tone? Anyway, I wanted to place an order from the Zoeva and Beauty Bay websites, but they are all the way overseas in Europe. I think Zoeva is in Germany and Beauty Bay is a UK store. So I was a little bit nervous about how it would be to ship to the US, but I did it and I have thoughts. I'm actually going to make a video detailing my experience. I do have a preference one over the other, and so I would just like to share that with you. If you're interested in that kind of video, then let me know and stay tuned because it'll be up very shortly. Alright, so that's good. For my transition shade, I would say I'm going to go in with the Substitute for Love shade. The names are really funny. And I'm going to use a MAC 217 brush. Right, it does kick up a little bit of dust, sort of like Lorac shadows or Anastasia shadows. So I would say you want to be careful when you're working with them. I just brushed off, I tapped off the excess from my brush, and so far the color seems to be going on really, really good. Before I placed my order, I did go online and watch a lot of reviews on Zoeva palettes because they have a lot of them. This one in particular was one of the more highly reviewed. I was going to go with one of the larger palettes. Honestly, I was going to buy a whole bunch of palettes all at once, but then I figured, let me try one and see how I like the shadows before I buy the whole collection. I'm so obsessive and impulsive that I literally had like all their eyeshadow palettes in my car before I came to my senses. So far, based on how these are applying, so far I'm kind of wishing I had left them all in my cart, but. So now I would like to go into this shade right here, which I think is really, really interesting. It's called Delicate Acidity. And for that, I'm going to use a MAC 213. I'm going to go in with the shadow dry first and see what kind of pigmentation I get. I'm going to put this delicate acidity shade all over my lid. Another reason I chose this palette is because it was one of the few that had a combination of both matte and shimmer shades and a reasonable combination of warm and cool shades as well. Alright, so far I'm not too impressed with the pigmentation of this particular shade. It is one of the shimmer shades, but it is not showing up too well on me at all. I am noticing that you can build it up. I don't see anywhere where it says that you can use the shadows wet or dry. I have to check the website. So rather than dampening my brush and putting it in there, I'm going to load up the brush with the shadow and then spray it with some Fix Plus. Alright, so I don't know if you can see, but that did enhance the metallic nature of the shade. So I can definitely see the metallic finish now. You can see the difference. This eye I applied with no Fix Plus, and this one I added Fix Plus. I do want to warm that up just a little bit, so I'm going to go in with the shade Warm Notes more towards the outer part of my lid. I do feel that the shadows sort of emphasize the texture on my eyelids. I do have hooded eyes and sort of crepey eyelids, and I feel that this does show up. It does emphasize that a little bit, but the colors are really, really nice. This is just sort of the way my eyelids are, so I'm not really surprised. That happens to me with a lot of. I'm just going in with that transition shade a little bit more. So far, I really like the way the mattes perform. The shimmers, you can work with them, but they are not as pigmented. And it's funny because usually shimmers are a lot easier to produce, or so I've heard. I'm going to define my crease just a tiny bit. I'm going to go in with the shade Freshly Toasted. And I'm just going to apply that on the outer crease just to deepen it up a little bit. Alright, so now I'm going to sort of repeat the steps. I'm going to go ahead and use this smaller brush. And I'm going to apply the shade Substitute for Love on my lower lash line. This is the part where I have to be really, really careful because my eyes water so much. Not only do my eyes water, they water upwards. And so it goes completely contrary to gravity. And my eyes water and the tears go right up into my eyeshadow. And that is the most annoying thing ever. I'm going to use a little bit of the shade Beans Are White on the outer part. Alright, and then I'm going to take a very fluffy blending brush and just sort of buff out the edges. Alright, I do want to play up a little bit of the purple that I have on my lids, and so I'm going to use one of these Marc Jacobs Highliner crayons. I received this for free from Influenster, and I really like them so much. I went and I bought another one. They sent me two, and this was one of them. I just really like how pigmented they are and how creamy. I just told you about my waterline issues as well, so you can probably understand how I'm really picky about pencils for my waterline. For my blush, I kind of want to go with this sort of warmer transition shade that I have, so I'm going to use this one. This is the Wet n Wild blush in the shade Apricot in the Middle. For my highlight, I'm going to stick with the warmer shade, so I'm going to go in with my Champagne Pop. I haven't used this one in a long time. I have heard that it is nice to set and then go in with that, so I'm going to use my Glam Glow Setting Mist. Wait till you guys see this mist. I showed it in my haul video, but it is so fine. Alright, so I'm going to apply Champagne Pop with a fan brush. Can you guys see that? Alright, I'm going to line my lips with this Tarte lip liner, and it's in the shade Amaze. Alright, and I'm going to finish this off with the lipstick that probably won't go with this look, but I really, really wanted to wear it. Maybe it will. It kind of matches the blending shade. And that one is the Rainforest of the Sea lipstick in the shade Daiquiri. With my new extensions, I always forget to add lower lash mascara, so I'm going to just add a little bit of the MAC Extended Play mascara. Okay, well that's it for this look. The super did not come in, and it is still leaking in my house, so that's great, but at least I was able to film the video. I am going to film my April favorites as well as the experience with ordering from Zoeva as well as Beauty Bay. So if you're interested in those videos, then stay tuned. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Don't ever be afraid to experiment with makeup, no matter where the inspiration comes from, because you can always wash it off at the end of the day or immediately if necessary.